How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. I'm not going to be doing a review today. This is just came outside to smoke a cigar and kind of relax. It is actually very cold outside, but hey, it'll be getting warmer here soon, and I love smoking a cigar and relaxing out here. But kind of just wanted to talk a little bit and just kind of ramble on. So I guess I'll probably end up calling this, like a Holy and Smoking Ramble or something like that. I'll come up with some nice witty name. But anyway, I started actually watching some videos on YouTube, because actually I watch YouTube quite a bit. Actually, I don't watch TV much anymore, but the guys I usually listen to a lot are a guy named Matt Fradd and Chris Stefanik. They're Catholic speakers. They're very, very good. And a lot of people think of, you talk about Jesus and you're talking about the church and everything, it's very dry and boring. It's anything but, it's almost like listening to a comedian, but, they're talking about God, and it's great, For me, it's kind of a form of entertainment, but it's very informative, and just, connect with, like, my larger Catholic family, and I really enjoy that, so. But anyway, who's interested in what I'm smoking right now, it's one of those Rosanas by Hoya de Nicaragua. So this is my third one I've smoked of it so far out of the 5, and I'm still liking it really good. So again, I endorse this one very, very much so. But again, just my opinion. Very spicy. Love it. Anyway, get back to the point of this, which is probably won't be a very long video, probably 5-ish minutes or something like that. But the one thing I was pondering while I was watching these videos is, who is Jesus? And I've been Catholic I entered the church 9 years ago, actually, like around the Easter Vigil, so almost exactly 9 years. And for a long time, I had a fundamental understanding of who Jesus was and what kind of relationship I had with him. But the one thing I didn't really notice up till about last year is, not growing up with any faith. So, actually, okay, here, I'll give you a little background on, where I come spiritually. So I grew up in a very secular home, not really a bad home. I was taught, good moral values, that any responsible parent in a society would teach their children. Don't murder, don't steal, don't kill, try to do good things for other people. So, I mean, even though my parents aren't, church-going people or even really, as we call theists, believing in God, I've never really talked too much about them or talked to my parents about God very much. They're supportive of me, when I became Catholic. It's more of, they're really indifferent, I guess is probably the best term to use. But, I grew up not really believing in anything. As a teenager, I kind of dabbled in witchcraft a little bit, because I like the whole, I really like nature, so that kind of, like, intrigued me a little bit, which nothing ever really came of it. I just, like, read a little bit, and, just kind of immerse myself in, just learning about it. And this is kind of around the time of when the internet kind of became popular. So this is like the mid to late 90s. So just a little hint, I'm in my 30s. So if you want to do the math. But anyway, nothing ever became of it. Then my parents got divorced, which sucks for anybody. And so I actually ended up moving to Canada with my mother a couple years later because she got remarried, and my stepfather was a Canadian, so we go up there. Again, he wasn't a church-going person, so again, no real place to go up there, or didn't have. I wasn't exposed to anything until one of my, like, actually the first friend I met. She went to a Pentecostal church, and she invited me to go to their youth group, which I thought was a great opportunity to meet people my age. Pretty good thought. So I went, and I actually started kind of, I would go to Sunday, I'd go to church with them, and, I wouldn't necessarily say, like, I really became, like, a follower of Jesus. I didn't really become a Christian then, I started reading the Bible a little bit, I kind of started learning more about what, Jesus was all about. So I ended up, leaving that church just for, just various reasons. But anyway, so we fast forward to when I was 22, 23, somewhere around there. I was living in a little tiny town in Canada. It's called Gravenhurst, if anybody knows where that's at. And just one day, I was sitting outside work. I worked third shift at a convenience store. And I was just sitting out there. My life really wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't necessarily looking for anything. I was just kind of, living my life. When something kind of came over me, I say it was a voice, but it really wasn't words. It's more of like when you just like know something, like that's what happened. Like I knew I just had to start going to church. And in this little tiny town, there was probably, I don't know, 10 different churches or somewhere around there. There was Episcopal, there was a Baptist church, there was like a big assortment of non-denominational Christians, and there was one small Catholic church. None of the other ones even made it to the front of my mind. Like, I just knew when I had to start going to church, I had to go to a Catholic church. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There was no thinking process of it. This literally happened over 5 seconds. So, that Sunday, actually, I went and bought some church clothes, because I really didn't have anything nice, really, except for, like, some ratty jeans and a t-shirt, just because, I've never spent money on clothes very much, and I still don't. So, I went to my first Mass, which technically it was my first Mass. In second grade, I went to a Catholic school here in where I'm from, but again, I don't remember that at all. But anyway, went to my first Mass, and I would say I was really confused probably the first few times. But if I knew that is where I was supposed to be, then everything would be alright. And eventually, I talked with the priest there, and he was actually semi-retired because the area it was in was very sparsely populated, and they're actually having trouble getting priests there. So anyway, I talked to him a little bit. They didn't have any religious education program, I think, because it was such a small parish. So I started meeting with him a little bit, talking with him. I'd help him around his house and stuff like that. And he actually introduced me to a retired teacher. His wife had just previously died, so he was alone most of the time, but he was a super friendly guy. So I started meeting with him once a week, and he would give me private catechism classes, is pretty much what they were. And I did that for, I want to say, 4 or 5 months. And then at this time, friends of mine that I had met there, they're originally from Toronto. I decided to move to Toronto with them. Just for, change of scenery. And it just felt right. So I ended up moving to Toronto, and I lived with them for a while. I finally ended up getting my own place within about a year of moving there, but I found a nice parish, St. Joan of Arc, which actually I had previously forgot the small parish in Gravenhurst I went to was actually St. Paul's. So later on, that kind of hit me as, kind of neat. But anyway, so I started going to St. Joan of Arc. Not a really, really nice parish. It's on Bloor Street near Keele, if you're ever in Toronto. So Bloor and Keele, you'll see it. It's not like a cathedral style of church, but you'll be able to see the steeple and see the cross, and then you'll realize. But anyway, started going there. Great people. It was a fantastic place to do our RCIA, and I was very happy. Looking back on it, it was Canada. Canada's already kind of like liberal anyway, so it was kind of a liberal church within like a Catholic context, let me put it that way. But somehow I came out very conservative. So, I'm not like a hardcore traditionalist. I do like tradition, I like Gregorian chant. I've never been to a Latin Mass, but I watch Latin Masses YouTube all the time, and I think it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And actually, I like to say about the other rites of the church too. Like the Byzantine rite and all the religion. It's such wealth, and I love it. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit, and this video is going to be way over 5 minutes. Anyway. So I was received into the church, Easter Vigil, 2006. And it kind of blew my mind, which, I can kind of relate this to next week, seeing that the Easter Vigil is a week from tomorrow, which I'm recording this Friday night. So, it blew me away. I really liked it. The Mass was fantastic. You start in the dark. And then the priest walks around with the new Paschal candle, announcing Christ is our light, and it's just, and then the lights come on. It's, we were in darkness, and now we're in light, because Christ is risen. I mean, it's, even if you're not Catholic, I mean, go to an Easter Vigil Mass next Saturday. Just go. Sit in the back. You can be tucked away. Nobody has to know that you're there. But, experience. I mean, it's very, very nice. Anyway, so that's kind of like my spiritual past, I guess you could probably say that. And, and over the years, I've teetered and I've tottered a little bit. Not necessarily about, like, my faith. I'm just naturally lazy. So there have been times where, life gets too much, and then I'm like, oh, I can go and miss Mass, so I end up not going to Mass, and I miss Mass again, and it just snowballs from there. And, I never lost, like, my faith. I never doubted any of the teachings of the church or anything. It just, I was lazy. But until about last year, I was finishing my undergrad degree. And actually, like the last 2 years of my undergrad degree, it was really bad because I was beyond stressed out, and my faith took a back seat. And that's never a good place to be, ever. No matter, what flavor of Christianity you are. I'm going to use that term. But anyway, which I really suffered, like emotionally. My family suffered just because I was never in a good mood, and I was just never happy. Which kind of brings me back to Jesus, what life is about. So, anyway, I started attending Mass again regularly after I went to confession for not going to Mass for some time. Which I suggest everybody go while you can, because during Holy Week, generally in most parishes, they will not offer confession. So go tomorrow. Go Sunday if they have it then. But go to confession. There's my plug for confession. Anyway, so windy out. This thing is not wanting to burn very well. Anyway. And it's tunneling, so that's not a very good idea. So windy out here. I don't know if everybody can see that. It's starting to tunnel a little bit, so I will correct that. While I'm correcting that, I will continue to talk. So anyway, Jesus. Coming from being Catholic, a lot of people think, we worship Mary and Jesus takes a back seat to everything else. I would like to say false. Jesus is the center of our life. And if you know anything about Catholicism, the center of our life is the Eucharist. And who is in the Eucharist, or who is the Eucharist? It is Christ himself. Body, blood, soul, and divinity. If you ever go to a Catholic Mass, that is the pinnacle of the Mass, is when that bread and wine are consecrated and become the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord Jesus Christ. One who conquered the world, the one who changes our lives, the one who gives our lives worth, meaning. So, I just lost my train of thought. Because I took a pull off the scar, and because it was tunneling a little bit, it's starting to break a little bit up on the sides. But I will soldier through, and I will enjoy this. But if you ever want to go on YouTube to watch some people who are on fire with Christ, my one huge suggestion is find some videos or some audio or some video with some audio of Saint Pope John Paul II. That man is okay. I don't know how to put this into words. He had such a love for Christ. Everything he did came from that love. And I really strive for that. I really do. And I don't I'm a very blustery type of person. So if I get upset or angry, I'm all bark, I'm no bite. But him, he forgave the man who shot him. So some people will be like, oh, he's a pope. He had to forgive him, but they became friends. He harbored no ill will towards man. He just saw it as another opportunity to bring another soul to Christ. And I think that is the attitude every single Christian should have. Every single one of us. We are always charged to preach the good news. And there's no better way to preach good news than the way we live our lives, how we conduct ourselves. Which is one of the main reasons I like doing these blogs. Or vlogs. That's the reason. Even though I'm out here smoking this cigar when it's freezing cold, I really wanted to do a video. So, that's why I'm out here. Because, I want to reach out and touch every single person who watches this video. If you're a Christian, become a better Christian. If you are one of my Catholic brothers and sisters, which all Christians are my brothers and sisters, but I'm not going to make this into Catholics versus Protestant versus non-denominationals, but invite Christ into your life. All the Catholics who are watching this, again, I'm going to preach again, go to confession. If you haven't been to confession in a long time, go. Especially now, you only got a couple days until Holy Week. Come on. So, which actually brings me to when I want to talk about Holy Week a little bit. Go to Thursday, go to Friday, go to Easter Vigil. We'll go to Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Vigil. I'm actually going to be taking most of Good Friday off because my parish, they'll be doing a couple times Stations of the Cross. I want to go to at least one of them. I actually might go to a different parish because they actually do a live action Stations of the Cross, which I have always heard are very nice. But again, we'll see how my schedule goes with that. So, anyway, I've actually smoked about half the cigar talking to you guys, roughly. But again, and all you who are not Christians, really, really look at your life. Look at where you fall short. Whether you're of another religion or if you're of no religion. Maybe you're an atheist. I'm not here to debate anybody because, frankly, I just don't have time to do it. I am a graduate student. Oddly enough, I am a scientist. I am a plant pathologist. And I am a devout Catholic. Go figure on that one. Which these days there are many scientists who are atheists, or they're just extremely indifferent towards your religion. I've actually had one heated debate with a professor of mine a couple years ago because he wanted scientific proof of God, who is not a material thing. And that's what science does. It studies the natural world. How can you have scientific evidence of something that is not in the natural world? Something that is supernatural. Something that is above nature. That is all I'm going to say to most atheists who try to use science as a proof, or you don't need God if you have science. Sorry. Your argument falls apart. Anyway. Anybody who is watching who does not have Christ as the center of life, if you don't know how to pray, sit there quietly. Maybe you might feel like an idiot sitting there praying to a make-believe somebody who's not there. I felt very weird the first few times I prayed because I didn't know if anybody was listening. I had no idea. Even though I saw that I had that initial jolt about, going to church, I didn't have any faith. But, I was going on faith enough that, I thought it was God. And to this day, I still am convinced of that, and that is the main reason I have never looked at another religion. One reason I've never looked at any other form of Christianity, because I was brought to a Catholic church by God for a reason. And I think that reason is to save my soul, because I could have gone down really bad roads, very very bad. Doesn't want to go out again. So anyway, look at your life. See what you want to be different. See what you want to be different. Because with Christ, everything flows from that. Every good thing flows from that. And he is the truth, the way, and the life. His very life gives us an example of how to live. No other religious figure gives us that at all. So, that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it. But anyway, everybody have a good weekend. I'm probably actually going to be back Sunday. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer. I'm actually going to be doing a review of a Padron, hopefully, if it's nice outside, and if I don't have anything else to do, I'm planning on doing anything Sunday at all, besides going to Mass, which everybody, go to Mass. Go to Mass. Do not miss it. Holy Week is coming. It's Palm Sunday. Everybody loves Palm Sundays. You can get those palms, make those really cool palm crosses. You're going to have them, flare them in the air. I love it. Anyway, have a good night, or day, or whenever else you're watching this, and everybody, God bless.